I'm always the one that has to fix things.
Cheers. Welcome to Ladies Night Happy Hour, everybody. We have Heather, we have Miss Sarah, and we have the incomparable Charly, creator of the Horoscope Vault podcast and our weekly Zippy Zodiac. We're coming to you from all over the place, and we're so glad that you're here. Cheers, everybody. Charly, in your honor, I wore, Zodiac pajamas.
I love it. Are there like zodiacs on it? Are there like the names of the constellations?
No, it's mostly, I think it's made out of dead fish. It feels weird. It's mostly like celestial, but on short notice, it's hard to find, Capricorn pajamas. And if there were special Capricorn pajamas, they would be made of rough burlap because Capricorn is never allowed to have a moment's pleasure or satisfaction. Hey, Renee and Pamela and Regina and Suzanne. So let's go around the room for folks that are joining us. And everybody introduce yourself and tell a little bit about what you do. And Sarah, don't be shy about saving the animals, okay? So Heather, you start.
Well, for those that don't know, I'm the digital director here for the Bob and Sheri show. I just basically keep everyone in line in the comment section. So I'm watching you.
She's the enforcer.
And no sooner have you hit the enter button than Heather's like, what is this? Like 24 hours a day. All right, Miss Sarah.
Okay, so I do the midday show here in Fayetteville, North Carolina, as well as a midday show in Ventura, California, and a show in Boise, Idaho. So I'm all over the place. But my full-time gig is I'm an animal control officer. So yes, I show up to people's houses on not their best days. And let me just put this out there. We don't want your dog. I'm not coming to get your dog, period. That's all.
What's really fun about that career shift for you? Sarah didn't give up radio. She just kind of added to it. And when you work in radio, the concept of doing 9 jobs just seems like Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So Sarah's a really big animal lover. And before she became an official animal officer, she would just be rescuing stuff on the way to the grocery store.
Yeah. I'll never forget the day our sales manager, I was on my way to work. It's 8:00 in the morning. Our sales manager found 4 kittens in our driveway here. And everybody, I hadn't gotten here yet. Everybody's like, oh, did you call animal control? She's like, no, I called Sarah.
Same.
Right. And I'm like, and I'm supposed to do what? So I gave him a little tubby in the kitchen and picked the fleas off of them and then brought them to animal control.
See, and she knew that you would put them in a little tub in the kitchen and pick their fleas off, and that's why she.
My entire life, Jeff Davis calls me Snow White all the time because there's always going to be something that I'm going to rescue, and I will put it out there now. If I ever find an alligator, I'm gonna be like, "Come here, buddy."
We're gonna get it. Yeah,
I've come to terms with the fact that I'm going to die petting something I shouldn't.
Sarah, it doesn't matter. It could be a raccoon, a bear, an alligator, a snake, a squirrel, any kind of a bird, a turtle, any kind of a dog, cat, hamster, guinea pig, ferret, sugar glider. Yeah.
Basically, what did I send you the raccoon in our ceiling picture?
Oh, that was one of the radio station, WQSM Q98. They had raccoons in the ceiling at the radio station, Charly.
Oh my gosh. That's so cute.
It's so cute.
And now we go, oh, look at you.
Hims was so cute.
Did you name him?
We named him Jeremy.
Did they put him to work? Raccoons work cheap, I hear.
No. I put him outside and he went right back in.
Yeah. Because he figured out how to get in the first time. And so he hadn't forgotten that.
Yeah, right. He climbed up the wall.
So we go all the way around to Charly King, host of the Horoscope Vault podcast and the Zippy Zodiac every Friday morning right here in the exciting world of Bob and Sheri. So Charly, tell everyone about yourself. You're in beautiful Key West.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I've been in Key West, Florida since 2012. I'm an astrologer here, and I'm an astrologer all over the internet. But really, I think I just call myself a timekeeper. I'm just letting everyone know, don't worry, it's coming, or don't worry, it's not coming. So it's like, I don't know, keeping the pace, so to speak. But yeah, doing that from somewhere like paradise is kind of beautiful.
So I'm sure you have gathered this, Charlie, that Bob Lacey is super duper skeptical and doesn't believe in
No.
anything. And so when you first joined our show, Bob is like, oh, but then week after week after week, Bob's a Virgo. Oh, there's a surprise. Week after week after week, the predictions were so accurate for Bob that now he's like, Charlie will say, like a couple of weeks ago, it was one of my favorite Virgo forecasts. Might have been in August. Charlie was like, Virgo, don't get your hair cut for the next month. Remember that?
Yes.
The way that man did not get a haircut until he was free and clear from that forecast.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And, Max, Max is with me on the True Weird Stuff podcast. We'll believe anything you got. But even Max is like every single prediction for Scorpio, every single time. So tell everybody, how did you become an astrologer?
I actually tried to disprove astrology. It's a really weird kind of route into it, but I was studying botany. I'm really into like plants and gardening and yard work. And it took me into physics and quantum physics. And then I'm like, I'm going to disprove astrology. And I couldn't. And I started with myself. And then, it goes out to the people that you know. And then I guess I'm trying to disprove it on a larger scale. And if and when that day comes, I'll be ready to, hang up my star charts. But it's funny when you get someone like Bob, a disbeliever. And I remember there was one forecast and I'm like, so, something to do with work in the house. And he's like, well, we're redoing the bathroom or something. And it's just, it's so soul satisfying for me when somebody maybe isn't converted, but their interest is piqued a little bit more, just to be, more open to the unseen.
Well, astrology is one of those things where if you dig, astrology has been embedded in human history for literal centuries. I mean, centuries. Some of the great emperors and rulers of the past, had their star charts done. And ancient peoples, going all the way back, we're talking like ancient Sumeria, ancient Egypt, their relationship with the natural world was very different from our relationship with the natural world. They had no choice but to live more in harmony with the cycles of the clock and the seasons, because like we have air conditioning and electricity and Netflix, it can be the same day every day all year round. But for people in the ancient world, their relationship to the constellations, the patterns in the night sky, nature, the weather, everything was so much more profound. And their belief that we are made of the same stuff as everything else in the universe really drove the widespread practice of astrology in the ancient world. Today, we're all so skeptical. We're skeptical of everything. We're skeptical of astrology. We're skeptical of Bigfoot. We're skeptical of extraterrestrials. We're skeptical of our neighbors.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so true. And like, I always try and bring it down to the simplest things when like communicating with people who have, I just call it a barrier. Maybe there's a barrier up for some reason and it's fine. But like the sun is one of the biggest indicators of how something big and out there has a very obvious impact on the planet. So if the sun does, why not, the other planets? The sun controls our seasons, the circadian rhythm when you sleep, the hormones in your body. And that's talking science. So, metaphysics, we need to get into that more.
We absolutely do. And speaking of the sun, we've had some very wild solar activity just recently, which is why people in like Virginia can see the aurora borealis. We shouldn't be able to see the northern lights that far south. But in fact, I saw something today. NASA, there's a great account on social media called Curiosity, and they had images of this plasma storm on the sun. And here's how profound the sun's impact on us is. You get a really good, wicked solar flare, and it takes out your cell phone service.
Mm-hmm.
We are, you know what, we like to think that we're, I don't know what we think we are, brains in a jar or some special exception to nature, but we're animals,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. 100%.
So what brought you from England to Key West?
A boy. It was a boy in the past. And, you know, I'm grateful for that journey because it brought me over here, and this just opened up a world of everything for me. I am wanting to explore more than just Florida. So, I mean, people hit me with the places that you're from because I'm so open to seeing something new everywhere, and I don't know where to start. It's almost like being spoilt for choice. There's so much of the USA to look at. I'm kind of like stuck here in my corner in Florida, not knowing where to begin, you know?
Where your next step is. It is always a boy though, isn't
My
it?
goal has always been to like I love traveling and I don't mind taking road trips, but I want to do the dumb things. Like I want to see the biggest ball of twine and the largest collection of paper clips. That is exciting to me. Going to the Grand Canyon, not so much. Big ball of twine, the giant peach in Blacksburg, South Carolina. That's top notch for me.
I love that stuff, as you know, so much. I'm going to the Grand Canyon, but on the way, we're going to see the world's biggest pitchfork. We just are.
Yes, the biggest frying pan isn't it up near Raleigh or Greensboro or something?
A real big skillet, yeah.
Yeah, I've yet to been there. I did want to go to Chimney Rock to see the Rainbow Bridge. Sadly, we can't do that now.
You know, they've installed a new one.
I saw that.
It's going to take for people that don't know, Chimney Rock is a very tiny town in western North Carolina that was scrubbed right off the map by Hurricane Helene. Absolute devastation. And one of the things that Lake Lure, the Rainbow Bridge is Lake Lure. So one of the things in Lake Lure that was really special was this bridge where people would come, Charlie, and they would, like, when they lost a pet, they would attach their pet's collar or tag.
Oh.
And the bridge was a rainbow of colors, dog collars and tags and all these, and cats and all these heartfelt messages from people who lost a pet. And the Rainbow Bridge got carried away in Hurricane Helene. But, you know, someone donated, I think a local person donated, and they have a brand new Rainbow Bridge for us to go visit. So, Charlie, what Sarah's talking about makes me wonder, in the UK, do y'all have the world's biggest haggis or crumpet or?
I wouldn't be here if there was the world's biggest crumpet. I would be back there.
Like, do you not have tacky?
I don't even know what a crumpet is, but I want to see it.
It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a pancake, fluffy. It's not a biscuit. It's certainly not you guys' version of biscuit, and it's not our version of biscuit, because those two things are completely different. It's like a savory pancake that's airy, and you just put tons of butter on top of it until the butter drips, and then it's delicious.
Is it kind of English muffiny?
Kind of English muffiny, but a little bit more bouncy.
Tender?
Yeah. There's more of a texture to it.
Yeah. Listen, this is ladies' night, but if you keep talking about hot, melted, dripping butter, we're going to bring in the fellas. Let me just say. So, I mean, Charlie, I've been to England and Ireland. Scotland is on my dream list of destinations. I've been to Stonehenge. Well, of course, I've been to Stonehenge. I mean, who are we talking to? I've been to Stonehenge and you know, the Blarney Stone and all of that, but I don't recall tacky tourist stops in the UK like we have here. Like silly things.
No, the only silly thing I would say, and it's not even really that silly, it's kind of mind-boggling, is in Wales, because the Welsh language is different. You have these street names, right? And they are like 35 characters long.
Hello. And no vowels.
Yeah, and it's like a word you would say after a night of 2 bottles of wine and it doesn't make sense, and it just, the words are amazing, but that's not really tacky, it's just like mind-blowing. And I don't think there's really anything tacky over there. It's very everything's very serious.
Y'all are very dignified. But here in America, we like to celebrate. We like to celebrate silly things. I remember we had the kids. It was our first Bob and Sheri RV trip. And we were up in Ohio. We were going to go visit the world's largest tree stump, which is an actual thing. It's big. This is a big tree stump, girl. I mean, if you're going to call something the world's largest tree stump, you better deliver a really big ass tree stump. So I'm all excited. I'm like telling my daughters, and they're little, I'm like, we're going to see the world's largest tree stump. And we go look at the tree stump. They're totally unimpressed. We leave the world's largest tree stump, and there lying in the road is someone's wig. Like someone literally got their wig snatched off and thrown out of a moving car. Those kids gathered around that filthy wig in the middle of the road like we were at the freaking Eiffel Tower.
Is that county fair behavior?
I just, yeah. I'm like, oh, why? At that point, I understood I don't need to take my children around the world. I need to take them to a strip mall carnival, and it'll be the best night they've ever had.
I've always wanted to go to the UK, like just go all over. I would love to see London. And I realize now after I watch a show with anybody with like a British accent, or even like just hear somebody just speak briefly, my inner voice for the next 2 weeks now will be British. I don't understand that. I'm not British.
I mean, do you realize, Charly, that you can say almost anything and we all pause and go, yeah, she's right. Artichoke dip is delicious. Because it's artichoke.
Everything's just so much more profound. It's wonderful.
When I first moved here, it was kind of funny because some of the differences in words, like what you call a trunk of a car, we call a boot.
The boot.
And so I was waiting for what I call a taxi, you call a cab. I was waiting for a taxi from the grocery store at the time. I was waiting on my driver's license. And I said to him, well, can I put my shopping in your boot? Which is how I would say it back home. No, I wouldn't say groceries in the trunk. To me, that's like a whole different language translation. And I said, can I put my shopping in your boot? And he looked at me like I just kind of slapped him around the face or said something really strange. And I'm like waiting for him to, I guess, now pop the trunk. I've learned the ways of the land now. But yeah, it was such a funny experience when I first moved here, and trying to order takeout or delivery on the phone.
Forget that. Yeah.
I would order from a cute little Cuban place, and I would try a Cuban sandwich and like a soda or something. And I would get like fish and an apple juice. There's no point in me trying to call back, and I'd eat the fish and I'd have the apple juice. It was absolutely fine. But it took a long, like now when I speak to people back at home, they can hear the kind of melding of my accent, and I'm
the
like,
Americanisms, yeah.
It's so that I can be understood sometimes, because I've had to kind of learn some of the words and some of the sounds, especially when it comes to the R sound. Yeah. We say R, and it's
funny how accents, like even regional, like when I first got here, you're not from here, are you? Nope. And I've kind of assimilated. I've been working on my North Carolina isms, but at the end of the day, I'm from New York, and coffee cost a quarter on the corner. And Jeff picks on me all the time every time I say Shawn Mendes, because I can't just say Shawn Mendes. It doesn't work for me. Obviously, it's a New York accent is a lot different, but I feel you. When I asked for a barbecue sauce and they gave me vinegar, that's not how this works.
My accent is so strange because it's a mixture of Philly, Jersey, like the Delaware Valley, but with a Western accent. So I don't say water, I say water, because I spent many of my formative years in a rural school in Bufu, nowhere, Wyoming. And so my accent was really shaped by that. But like I have nieces and nephews who sound like extras on the Sopranos episode. And I love accents. I love regional accents. I love I could listen to the Scottish accent all day, even though I'll be honest, I don't understand everything that's being said to me.
My grandmother had an Irish brogue, and then when she moved from Ireland, moved to Brooklyn. So growing up with her in the house, it was challenging,
Yeah.
at least.
And of course, my husband is as Southern as it gets, and he says fixin' and wrecking and varmints.
I heard you talking about that the one day. I don't remember what you asked him, but he's like, I reckon. And I was like, I found myself using fixing to in a sentence the other day, like not on purpose. I'm like,
See, that'll be Charlie's next thing. Charlie's going to go home to England, and I can't even do it in her accent. I'm fixing to have a crumpet. I reckon. So one of the things that fascinates me is the way Gwyneth Paltrow. Now, you as a Brit, you'll have to tell us if it's legit. But Gwyneth Paltrow, whether it's Sliding Doors or Shakespeare in Love, you got to hand it to my girl Gwyneth. She can bang out an accent. When you hear an American do a British accent, Charly, does it sound funny to you?
It entirely depends, and I find that there's like this mirroring effect in humanity all the time. People mirror. You can scratch an ear talking to someone, and they're going to scratch an ear, and it doesn't stop at communication and accents as well. And I'll have people who are fully American start sounding like me while they're talking to me, and I have to try and figure out, is this fun? Do you know you're doing this? And it can be really fun when they don't realize they're doing it, or if they catch it and they say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But one of the things is they always try and get me to say something in American, and I can't do that whatsoever except for one word. I would always say water, because I would never get that. If I ordered water, could I have a water? I would just get funny looks. So my offering is, can I get a water? But then when people say British stuff back to me, they always go for the same, oh, bloody hell. That's a common one. Occasionally people go to the shrimp on the Barbie, and I have to just remind them that's somewhere different.
Well, I mean, between like Harry Potter and Mary Poppins, the average American all right, governor. Like we have this governor.
Yeah.
We have this really wacky view of what British people sound like. And we also forget that in the UK, accents are as regional as they are here.
Mm-hmm.
Even in like a city like London, you have 20 different accents.
Yeah. Yeah. And that gets so interesting. That gets so difficult. Because I'm like, wait, you kind of sound like me, but don't. And it's just, but I'm starting to learn the slight difference in American accents. Like I can pick out more Boston direction now. And like Southern, I can pick out. I'm not very clued up on kind of if there's any different sounds over the west side yet. I haven't kind of made it that far, but I'm definitely getting my northern southern figured out. But yeah, in the UK, you had like Manchester, Newcastle. I had a Scottish grandmother, and we really only ever communicated in like practical jokes on each other, because that was the only common language we really had, because she was very, very Scottish. But when my dad came over here years ago, he did the funniest thing. I had my group of American friends, and he was going to bed for the night. And he said, and I've never really noticed this until it was in front of my American friends. He said, cheerio. And I haven't said cheerio I don't even think I was saying it for the last few years of being in England. So when he said that, I just wanted to freeze frame this like epitome of British madness right there. And all my American friends kind of giggled, and that was a whole thing, and whenever we'd finish a phone call, cheerio and stuff. And yeah, I don't know, it got me seeing it from a different perspective, having been over here. I'm like, Cheerios, those are cereals back home, it just blew my mind. It was so funny to hear.
I had a gorgeous, adorable, sweet little Irish boyfriend from Belfast for a summer when I was in college. And he and all of his mates used the word cheers like as a all-purpose greeting, salutation, affirmation. Like in America, if I'm saying cheers to you, we're clinking glasses.
Yeah.
But this man, I brought him and a couple of his buddies to meet my grandmother, and she just was in heaven. She made them all a baked potato because she thought they might be lonesome for a potato. And they were cheersing right, left, and center. And she didn't even know where to begin with all that. But that's what's fun about not just traveling, but taking time to really engage people from other places. Because you notice all this cool stuff.
Absolutely.
So let's see. Mary Sachs says, I'm from Northeast Pennsylvania, and they say my accent sounds like I'm from Boston. Then that I'm telling you, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware accents are so highly specific. I can hear South Jersey coming from a mile away. Right, Sarah? It is a very specific
Like there's
accent.
something very my family, I have a lot of family in Philly, and there's very something very specific about use and like when they say water or quarter. Like mine is more quarter, and it's just slightly different, but it's weird. It's just I can't explain it. But I just know that they're from Philly.
One of the things I've noticed about the Southern accent, which I love, is we can go ahead and add an extra syllable at no additional charge.
Go to the Walmarts.
Just
meal.
Stretch that vowel.
We could have milk, or we could have meal. We could, I mean, it's my gift to you. These extra syllables that we're putting in these words.
Last week. So one of my sergeants, she's very Southern. She's like born and raised here, like in the backwoods. I heard her fall out of my face the other day, and I can't remember what I was talking about, but I started the sentence off with "listen." I was like, crap, was that Christy? Christy just fell out of my face, and it was so funny because everybody in the office like, yeah, that's Christy. That was Christy. I don't know where it came from, but yeah, I'll say something about say New York. I don't know. So I'll say something very New Yorkish and very North Carolinian in the same sentence, and I'm like, talk about a code switch. Like, I can't myself.
It's so funny because when I'm out west, so Utah has a very specific accent. Like I can spot a Utah accent a mile away. They have a really interesting way of flattening and elongating their vowels or something, right? So if I stay out there just long enough, I'll start falling back into that Western accent. If I go visit my brother in South Jersey, within days, I'm like, what are you looking at?
That part.
Not only do I get the accent back, but I'm like, all right, it's go time. Let's go. Like I want to punch people in bars. Like it's terrible, Sarah. It's so, well, you know. And then of course, when Charly goes home, she wants to dance across the rooftops and pretend to be a chimney sweep, like all the Brits.
Oh my God. No, people always think New Yorkers are rude, and we're not. We're just in a hurry. Move. I don't understand taking your time. Get there.
But the longer you stay, and Charly, you'll see this too in Key West, the longer you stay down south, one of the great things about the South is people, no matter how busy you are or how important this work meeting is, we are going to take the time to engage each other and see how we're doing and how's the family, okay? So like when I first moved to this, I came right from Philly, like straight out of Philly. When I would go to meetings for my job and we would spend like 10 or maybe 15 minutes just catching up. And I'm on Philly time. Like, let's go. But now when I go up north, my feelings are hurt everywhere. They're hurt at the CVS. They're hurt at the gas station. They're hurt at the toll booth. My feelings are hurt all day long. And you'll see, Charly, that the pace, like especially in a place like Key West, where the vibe is different and the pace is different.
Very.
You're going to go to a great American city like Boston or Philly, and people are going to be rude to you and you're going to cry.
And not to mention it specifically trying to move quickly somewhere. the infrastructure in all these different places. That's what I miss about New York. Is streets in New York go this way and this way. In Boston, they're because F you. In the South, everything's round. There's 17 ways to get there, and it's always going to take 35 minutes.
So this is interesting. Kelly Ortiz said about the South, we will engage even if we don't care because we feel like it's the proper thing to do. So one thing that I've learned in my long time as living in the South, married to a Southerner with a bunch of Southern children, or youngins. I'm sorry. I reckon we call them youngins. Everyone's friendly, but it's hard to make friends. Whereas I go, you know, you're in Philly and people are literally spitting on your grandmother, but they would take a bullet for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's just wild. You know, it's just culture. It's just different. Angela, let me see if I can pronounce your name right because it's Greek. Angela Karafas said, I had a job in Greece working for travel medical insurance for everyone coming from UK to Greece and Cyprus. I got hired because we had to be a native English speaker. My first week on the job, I got a call on hold and asked if any of the coworkers were English speaking because I couldn't understand anyone unless they were from the London area until my ear got trained. Yeah, that's interesting. So Regina Denton lives in Florida. She lives near Daytona. Floridians, Charlie, as you've probably noticed, don't have the same accent as their neighbors in Georgia and South Carolina. Mm-hmm. And is that, do you think, because people are from everywhere in Florida and so it's its own special kind of thing?
Here in Key West, because it's touristy, like everybody's different because they're traveling here for that. But recently, back in June, we took a trip to Pensacola. Now, I always did the kind of like usual Miami, West Palm Beach kind of direction. But we went the other side of the state this time. We went to Pensacola. And for the first time, I heard someone ask me, can I pet your dog? But in that accent, you know, that viral accent that went round, and it was the cutest thing. And I just noticed that wherever I am in Florida, there's so many different sounds. And every time I'm thinking, like I say, I've only got 2 sounds down right now that I think I'm pretty sure about. Every time I think I've got a sound down, especially in the state of Florida, I'm taught that that's completely wrong by someone with a different Floridian tonality, and it's so interesting.
Florida is, that didn't sound right. Whatever that was. Maybe the aliens have come. Florida is kind of like such an interesting and unique place because you've got like coastal Florida. You've got like the Keys in Miami, which is its own, you know, the Everglades, its own thing. The Orlando area with all the theme parks, it's its own thing. Then you go to the other side of Florida and it's farm country, it's cattle country. And that's where you'll find like what sounds to me like a more traditional Southern accent. Yeah. But everywhere else in the state, it just sounds like Florida. And even like Regina, who's from Florida, sounds like a network news broadcaster to me. It's that flat kind of, you know, you would maybe call it Midwestern, but it's just really a flat accentless accent. These cats are, what is going on here? They're flying around my head.
It's Scorpio season, that's why.
That's right.
So Charly, not to make you work on happy hour, but give for everyone that's with us tonight, like what's the astrological overall vibe at this moment?
Well, hopefully my accent kind of cushions the blow, but you know, the end of the year, this year, we're closing out 2024. And I mean, you don't need to be an astrologer to know that from November kind of onwards is going to be a tough time just because of the world. But the thing I'm working through with my clients right now, and I'm loving it, is like, yeah, it's actually really challenging right now. Like this week has been really emotionally volatile for everybody. And lots of kind of the biggest keyword coming up is burnout. And it's either succumbing to the burnout or narrowly missing burnout, and lots of injustice and lots of stuff going on. But 2025 is so good that, I mean, I can't wait to get down to the 2025 episodes. It's really evolutionary. It's very different. It has to be different if it's going to be better, obviously. But at the moment, you know how it gets really bad before it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at that point at the moment where it's going to be a struggle. We have like a retrograde coming up in December of Mars, and that's a lot of like action problems. It's a lot of like difficulty actioning things. It's feeling very stagnant in personal life, which obviously anything in the personal life echoes out into the bigger wide world. But I'm just here rooting for 2025. I'm crossing off the days on my calendar until like March time of 2025, when I'm just gonna want to come on here and chat with everyone about how amazing they're doing, and like you tell me all of the good things. It's a lot.
I just want to tell you, like last Friday, I'm a Capricorn, and you told me that, and usually the Capricorn horoscope sounds something like this: Capricorn, a lot of people are going to make a mess, and you're the one cleaning it up. I mean, that's just what it means to be a Capricorn. So last week, Charly said, Capricorn, you are about to get some sort of recognition for your work. And as a person who works in radio, I thought, well, that cannot possibly be accurate. But earlier this week, my True Weird Stuff podcast won Best History Podcast in the Women in Podcasting Awards.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was stunned because I was so not prepared to win that when they called my name, I just sat there. I was like, oh, well, you can't win them all. Wait. Oh, thank you. This is awesome. Oh. And you had predicted that. And this in the same way that you just said, like right now, last night, I went, Kevin and I, my husband and I were watching a movie, and I went in to brush my teeth and get ready for bed. And he came in a few minutes later, and I was standing in the closet just weeping. And he's like, what? And he gets that look on his face, like, what happened? Can we go shoe shopping? What is it? Right. And I was like, I can't go on. And he does not know what to do with that, right? He's like, maybe we need to buy shoes. I don't want shoes. So, yes, I think probably everyone here tonight, and tell me if you're the exception. I mean, don't you feel like Rocky at the end, where like you're bleeding and they got to cut your eye open, and you just don't know that you can get up and throw one more punch, Sarah?
Honestly, no. I see it happening around me. I see the people going through it. At some point in the last few years, especially this year, I've woke up and is like, nah.
Like, are you a freaking Gemini? They always seem to have a good forecast.
Scorpio, which is crazy.
Yeah, but that's why you're so sexy, queen.
But no, I wake up every day and I choose joy, and I realize that there's these whatever pardon my French, bullshit is going to be thrown at me today. I know I'm going to put on some gloves, and it's only going to be temporary.
Well, as a Capricorn, after I finish weeping, I can't go on. Then I clean up everyone's mess.
Oh, yeah. I have a complete meltdown for like 5 minutes. I'm psychotic. I will throw things. I tend to get violent. Perimenopausal, Scorpio, Sicilian, Irish. It's a problem. However, give me like 10 minutes and then we good.
Oh, look at Brian. Brian says y'all are sexy. Well, Brian, you should see our OnlyFans page. My brother. No. You see those sexy satin pajamas Heather's wearing? Those are my favorite because she wore them the night we spent the night together in Boston.
Wait, Boston.
Boston. We spent the night together in Boston.
The unusable lamp that we could not figure out how to turn on or off.
The lamp, Charly. It's a bedside lamp. It has no discernible switch. Not on the cord, not on the base. There's no, Heather, was there any way to turn this light on?
No.
It wasn't like a clap?
It wasn't a clap.
I clapped at it.
She yelled at it.
Yeah, I was like Wingardium Leviosa. Like, I mean, I was
That's the bed
chanting at the
frame?
damn thing.
Did
Heather
you
and I, you know what we did? We were forced to sit there with the overhead light on, which is very unflattering and not good for your soul.
I've seen some where there's like in the back of the bed frame, like on the top ledge.
We looked. We
Oh.
looked. I took the lamp off the bedside table of this Airbnb, and I turned the bedside table upside down and felt all around it
Yep.
for
We need
a
to call the
switch.
B&B people.
Yeah, but you know what? It was fine because once the lights went out and Heather put those silky pajamas on, who cares about whether or not you can find a switch, right?
You know, in the radio world, it's not that normal to have to sleep with your boss.
Oh my Lord, no. It's typically the only way up, Sarah. As you know, Charly, stay where you are. Astrology, quantum
Never
physics, we're
once.
good.
Never once. I mean, Jeff's cute and all, but no.
That's because you're the kind of woman that won't force a man to beg.
Look. This is my girlfriend.
And she's a very perfect girlfriend.
We're very
She's
happy
looking
together.
good. She's looking good. She's a Hollywood size 4.
Right, exactly. It's a cheap date.
Let's see. Oh, Erica Wolf said that was the wrong spell. It's Lumos to turn on the light. You're right. I was trying to get the damn thing to fly around the room. Well, what are you going to do? We were so friggin' tired by that point. Brian Footsback, he's like, hey, I don't see anybody drinking. Brian, that is not true. Let me tell you what I'm drinking and your imagination can run wild, you filthy little thing. I am drinking a Cabernet called Bound.
Ooh.
Which, Brian, with your filthy, dirty imagination, you can probably add and gag to that. Men, you're all just. What is it? That great line from Young Frankenstein? Men, you're all filthy animals. I love it.
Oh my God. It's just grape ghost energy drink for me.
You're having an energy drink?
Yeah. I live on caffeine.
I can't drink. You can drink. Do you have ADHD? If you mind my asking that. No. Here's why I ask. Because the ADHD brain is very, very special and very, very different. And it's immune to caffeine and stimulants.
Yeah, I will drink this in bed. Like,
Yeah.
I literally drink caffeine all day. People are like, oh my God, your heart's going to explode. It's not. But so my doctor thinks I'm on the spectrum somewhere, I don't know. And the whole, you see like the memes about being neurodivergent, whatever. Everything I consume, not everything, but generally the things I drink, like if I drink water, it's got mad lemon juice in it because it has to be sharp. I can't drink anything round. And some people look at me like, what? But
I
milk,
understand
like
you.
milk is round. If it doesn't have bubbles or it's not sharp, foods, I love crunchy foods. I should be a crappy Barbara because they love like celery and bok choy and broccoli. That's me. If it's crunchy or spicy or sharp, that's mine.
One of the best things about being alive in this moment is the growing understanding that there's really no such thing as normal, and that neurodivergency is a superpower. That so Kev has ADHD and his brain could not be more different from mine. It just could not be more different. It's like we're two different mammals that somehow ended up in the same cage. But his ability, when he's engaged in something, he can focus like a laser endlessly on that one task. Whereas I can be doing 10 things at once and remember that we need cranberry juice or whatever. It's a superpower. Unfortunately, we live in a time in a very post-industrial information age society where people are required to sit still and follow directions. Whereas people with that ADHD, that superpower brain, they need to go out and stalk saber-toothed tigers and woolly mammoths.
That's when we go get a job in animal control.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to ask y'all to sit still and do paperwork.
And I injured my knee, so I've been on light duty. So I've been in the office doing that. Oh, it is so difficult for me. I'm eating so many snacks just to keep my brain, because they say like with the spicy, especially the spicy stuff, flaming hot everything, it resets your little transmitters and it keeps me focused. So I'm always got flaming hot something or celery or something crunchy that's going to be. Then I can sit down and do a task. High school was forget it. Couldn't do it.
When I was a little girl,
0 out of 10, no recommend.
I had so many sensory issues as a child, but they didn't call it that back then. They called it being a pain in the ass. Okay. But
I can't get tags in my shirts that aren't.
I would cry. Guys, I would sit and sob like my heart was broken because I didn't like the way something felt. My mother, bless my mother got a used sewing machine and taught herself how to sew jumpers because I could not wear, like I had to have Chuck Taylors. I could not have Keds. I had to have Chucks because I had to have the rounded. I had to be able to wiggle my toes or I would lose my mind, right? And I couldn't stand to this day. Like when I see people wearing a belt, I'm like, you're so strong. You're so strong.
I have to wear a belt every day at work and tuck my shirt in.
Girl, I don't know how you do it. The feeling of something around my waist sends me into a tailspin. So my mom made me these loose woolen jumpers. She made like 5 of them in different fabrics and got me knee socks and Chucks. And that's what I wore to school for kindergarten and first and second grade. I couldn't tolerate other clothes. Today, you would look at a kid like that and you would go, well, maybe we should have this child test it. There were certain foods I couldn't eat. There were things I couldn't touch that couldn't touch me.
Popsicles. Don't come near me with a popsicle stick.
Yeah, you would go, oh, we got to test this kid. This kid is on the spectrum. But you know what? I wouldn't trade not being able to wear a belt for my wild, dark imagination. Would you trade your weirdness, any of you?
Not even a little bit. My mother always told me normal was the setting on a washing machine. And frankly, anybody who chooses to wear a belt, I don't understand that because why would you want to put a big, thick line at your equator? This is my thickest part. Why would I want to point it out? I don't do it.
The feeling of it makes me feel like desperate, like I'm under attack. I can't. And this drives Kevin crazy. ADHD brain. Okay. If we have to be somewhere, like our son Zane ran a half marathon and we were going to go with my sister wife and we were going to cheer Zane on. It's the crack of freaking dawn. To me, it feels like it's 45 degrees below zero. We have to be there at 8:00. So I set the alarm for 6. And Kev's like,
what's wrong with that?
Why can't we just get up at 7:45? Are you some sort of a large hairy animal? I have things to do. Like I can't be rushed. Like or everything will fall apart. But I think that like I look at him and I think it's like I'm married to Baloo from the Jungle Book. Like he just puts on his loincloth and gets it day. Like
but really all he's got to do is get up and put on pants, possibly a shirt, and walk out the door. We've got to make sure we brush our hair, but we can't wait too long to brush your hair after a shower because then it's ruined and you got to make it wet again.
And I have to say goodbye to all the cats. And I have to make sure that all the burners are turned off. And
did I turn off my flat iron?
Yeah, like, excuse me for living. I mean, Charly, do you have any of this stuff? Or are you like sitting over here going like, oh, these Americans really are rabble?
No, I have it too. I definitely have the sensory thing. And mine was really weird. Mine was always cotton wool. So if you get like a cotton wool ball and you pull it, I can hear it. I will swear to you till I'm blue in the face that I can hear the sound that it makes, and it makes my bones and my teeth feel weird. And I've had like people in the past think it was really funny to,
I didn't even think about that until you just said it, and I'm like, oh yeah.
It makes my mouth feel strange, and you don't really put cotton wool in your mouth, and I can't explain to you why that has any link there, but I cannot help it. It just makes me feel super weird, super weird.
You know those nasty orange circus peanut candies? Have you had one of these yet, Charly? They're the worst thing. They're the worst thing we've ever invented in America. They're the worst thing.
They're delicious.
They're spongy. They have the texture of a pool floaty. Okay. Which I think they're one molecule away from being a pool floaty.
Accurate.
I can't, and people love these. And when I say I don't like them, people get so offended. They email me and DM me like, how dare you? But here's the thing. If I eat an orange circus peanut, it makes my head feel big. And this bitch is already big. Like, we can't expand this like by even an inch. Okay. It makes my head feel like, you know how you're describing like your teeth feel weird with the cotton ball?
Yeah.
My head feels like a big overinflated balloon if I put that in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I will steer clear of those.
I'm like that with styrofoam cups. I really don't like them. And like the feeling of them on my teeth. I don't like styrofoam cups.
I love circus peanuts, though.
Sarah, you like circus peanuts?
It's my dad's fault. Like, that was one of his favorite candies, and I like them. I can only eat like 4.
I said Sarah, and my phone said, "Sorry, I don't understand." Well, I'm not talking to you, Siri.
No, I do like them, but I understand that, like, that whole texture. Like, I'm really bad with textures and smells especially. Ask Jeff the next time you talk to him. I'm in charge of how the studio smells, because I will have a conniption fit and a migraine if it's basically anything other than pumpkin spice. But I could, like, when I was a kid, even I could go outside and play all day long, but I would have to keep running inside to wash my hands and my feet. I could be covered in mud, tar, you name it. If I can feel grit on my hands or my toes, like, I know, and you have cats, you know, at some point with a cat, you're going to step on a piece of litter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can't. I'll stick my foot right in the kitchen sink, wash it off.
I have slippers that I wear around my house for that reason, because the grains of litter. I sweep constantly, but
Same.
I'm a slipper girly in the house.
I got these though because they're really tall, and then I can reach the stuff on the top shelf.
My bestie, Evelyn, is like, we need to talk about your Birkenstock addiction. I have to be able to wiggle. My hiking boots are Keens because Keens are legendary for wiggling. My Chucks let me wiggle. Even Vans are a little problematic because they can be a little pinchy. Mm-hmm. If I can't wiggle, I can't even focus on what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Like, I could be meeting with like the most important person in the world, and if I'm not able to wiggle inside my shoes, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
How are you with socks?
They have to be loose.
Yeah, I'm the same. Well, when I got hit by the car, I have a lot of nerve damage in my back, like in my spine, so it's down my legs. Like, things hurt when they shouldn't hurt. But if my toes are like this, I can't even tuck in my blanket in the bottom of the bed because I can't
abide it. Mm-hmm. I can't abide it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't have some of this, Charly? Like some of this, like where you're like, oh, no.
Just the cotton wool, the socks, definitely. Have you ever tried those socks with the like?
Oh no.
Yeah, no, those.
No.
I got told to wear those at a yoga session once, and I'm like, okay, I'm at yoga and I'm learning to be zen and enlightened, so I'm gonna. They were horrible. Like, I felt like my actual stomach turned.
Yes.
And because of that, I think after that, I'm actually really picky with socks now. Yeah. And like there's such a thing as too high, and then there's too low, and then there's the pair of socks where one has lost the elasticity and it just goes under your heel.
Even no, I will throw the whole leg away.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no point in keeping it in your home.
No,
it's bad juju. It will bring you misfortune. It must be gone.
It is total misfortune. Socks, I'm super, super picky about. And also when you said about belts, I don't understand belts, and it amazes me that people buy them for fashion as well, because it's like it's hurting yourself.
Which is funny though with the belt thing, because when I was thin, I wore like belly beads all the time. That didn't bother me.
But see, this is like fashion. The reason that fashion changes so frequently is to get us to spend money. So there is no way that I am wearing a t-shirt tucked into barrel jeans with a belt. If you see me in barrel jeans tucked in with a belt, I need you to look at the pervert behind me that's putting a gun into the small of my back. Because that's the only way that's happening. Like I've been abducted. I could never.
I've wanted to like opt out of the whole fashion stuff lately. Like I don't know what it is, the last 6 or so months. If I like colors and I like patterns and I like things, but I don't know if it's kind of that neurospicy thing as well. But when I come to decide to wear something, it can be overwhelming. So suddenly I find myself doing, like, I don't know if I'm turning robotic or something, but I want the same clothes in every color. Does that sound crazy? I want it to just be simple. I want it to be like almost a checkers board of like up top we've got sage green today and down bottom we've got black. And I just want to mix and match like that. Like, yeah, I do like my colored stuff, but I feel like that's for me so that I can wear it how I want and in and around my home. But when I go outside, I kind of want to just be almost nondescript fashion-wise. Plus, it changes so quickly anyway. I can't keep up.
With me, everything's generally a solid color. Like this shirt is kind of freaking me out right now. Solid colors. It might have a little saying on it or something, but solid. Like I think Sheri, every time you've ever seen me, I've been wearing black, right? Black and leggings. That's what I do.
I just feel like the world and reality is so aggressive at the moment. Leave me alone. I am wearing my Birkenstocks. I am not brushing my hair. And you know what? Lately, y'all, I'm just going to be honest. I cannot abide a bra. These girls have been free ranging so much.
Yes.
I cannot. And I'm a 34 double D. Like I need a bra or I'll put an eye out, but I cannot abide a bra lately.
But on a hot day, you gotta tuck.
The feeling of it. It's like I'm a kid again and I'm ready to cry. I can't do my schoolwork because of the sensation.
Sheri, I haven't worn a proper bra since the beginning of the pandemic.
I respect
There has not been a wire on my body.
Respect. Where you come down on the bra thing, Charly?
Yeah.
I wear it when I have to. So if I have to be proper. I basically exist in sports bras, the softest, no underwire. I want the sports bras, like Hanes in every single color for me. And then if I have to kind of like get technical with the girls, it's because my back is giving me troubles. So it becomes structural. But outside of the structure side of thing, give me something soft and simple or nothing.
There's a viral sports bra that's all over my social media feed, the posture correcting sports bra that Taylor Swift wears. And as a Swiftie, like whatever, I want to embrace. But the phrase posture correcting tells me that thing's going to get on my nerves.
It looks like a torture device.
It does.
Because like posture correcting just means I feel like I'm going to be pulled the entire day.
Yeah.
I'm already pulled. I don't want to be pulled anymore.
Heather's got you got a big set.
Yeah.
I mean, are you not sick of wearing a bra? Oh, Brian Foote is loving this tonight.
You're right. Bob would be so uncomfortable.
I have not worn a wire bra since the pandemic started. No, like I'm done with wires. I will search out for the perfect one at the store that has no wires, that's soft, that has the thick straps, and that's what I want.
There was this dickweed incel on Twitter, and he was ranting about how he despises women and wants to know why he can't get sex. And I'm like, heads up, it's because you despise women. But I digress. And he was going on and on about, well, what do you think you'd do if suddenly all the men on the planet disappeared? And this was my first thought. Well, bitch, I ain't wearing this bra anymore. I can't tell you that.
No.
First thing that's gone.
Nope.
Why do we not march in the streets and demand a revolution and refuse to wear that miserable freaking thing? Even comfortable ones I'm struggling with right now. Like I just can't. It's a sensory thing.
Because the assholes of the world will say, "Well, you asked for it."
Oh yeah. Well, and also, I mean, don't you want them to be perky? I want to be a freaking witch in a swamp. I do not want to be the owner of like I have a husband. I don't need to march my perky boobs out for your pleasure.
Listen, back home during wintertime, I really thought about renting out space underneath them as hand warmers.
You
Because
know,
quite frankly, it gets hot under there. That's the only reason I wear a bra is because it's hot and I need something
And you
that's
need,
going to be,
yeah.
yeah. But
Well,
we
and
can
you're
definitely,
Brian's loving this. Yeah, now they're holding them. Um,
Stewie said take it off.
but having to
No.
wear your officer uniform, I mean, that's pretty. I've seen it. That's pretty buttoned up
Yeah,
and
and it's a
tight.
polyester polo, which I don't rock with anyway, but I have to wear it 40 hours a week. Um, and it's not that thick because it's one of those like quick dry things. So yeah, a sports bra is going to be necessary under there. Plus, when it's 137 stupid degrees outside, um, it is helpful. But I, I'll never forget. I was 19, I think. It was in Manhattan, and in New York, it's legal to walk down the street without a shirt on. You can be topless in New York. So I did. It was the middle of Manhattan. Why not?
I am in awe of you.
And it was so, what's the word? Freeing, for lack of a better
Liberating.
term. It was fantastic. Did a lot of asshole people say a lot of stupid things? Yeah. Did I have to put a shirt back on to go into a store? Yes. But no, just walking down Avenue of the Americas with the girls out.
I love a topless beach.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the
Mhm.
simple reason, like, no, they're not on display for you.
Mhm.
But the freedom of being out from under that uncomfortable
Yes.
bathing suit that gets sand in between the bathing suit and your
Yes.
skin. And Charlie, as a European, that was just
Mhm.
business as usual
It
for
was
you.
so normal. And it's funny, I came to Key West, and Key West is actually very, very open-minded. We currently have our annual Fantasy Fest going on, which is like this week-long Halloween celebration. And
Ooh.
the costumes are literally people body painted.
Mhm.
Everybody
Been there,
from
done that.
everywhere in life body painted and walking down the street, and you can have open containers so everyone's enjoying their cocktails, and there's boobs and nipples and things everywhere. But when I first came to Key West, I landed on a beach, and I wanted to get vitamin D over my whole body, and I actually had someone come up to me and say, "Excuse me, miss, this isn't Europe." And for me, it was really strange because I'm like, they're just boobs. And like, I know you've seen them before. And I
Yeah.
know that mine aren't like doing anything to you. And so I really couldn't understand it because back home, topless sunbathing is just
It's the
standard. It's
norm.
so normal
Yeah.
that you're weird if you point it out. Like there's something about you if you point it out. Like you're personalizing this for
Mhm.
some reason. So I kind of put them away and went off and went and found myself another beach that did allow topless sunbathing. And
It's crazy, and it really gets nuts. And by the way, Jeff Kleinschmidt, who thinks I'm going to turn into Grandma Boob Slap, you filthy little thing. You wish I would, don't you? Don't you? How much you want to pay for a good slap upside the head, Jeff?
Oh my goodness.
Um, where it really gets infuriating for me is breastfeeding in public. Oh my gosh, look, that's what Julie Scoggins just said.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways. You cannot demand that we are these traditional earth goddess mothers who are just repopulating the world with our uteruses and breastfeeding and making our own baby food and walking around without any shoes on and cooking your meals, and then bitch about it when we take one out to breastfeed.
Mhm.
The uproar over breastfeeding in public, and I nursed both my kids for over a year each. And I had to take them everywhere I went. And poor Bob. I mean, at one point, Bob was like, I don't think that kid's latched because he had seen it so much.
Oh
Right.
my God.
But like, it's not that big a deal. You're making it a big deal. And
Mhm.
if you're in my face or any woman's face about breastfeeding in public, you need to check your own issues.
And put a blanket over your own head when you're out eating dinner. Because I get so annoyed by that. Like you're literally feeding your child, but at the end of the day, whether you're feeding a child or not, or it's just like you said, Charlie, it's just boobs.
Yeah.
Doesn't everybody love boobs a little bit?
yes,
I love boobs.
yes.
I just why not?
Somebody asked me once, we were talking about the whole breastfeeding in public thing on the show, and I get this irate email from some dude, and he's like, well, how would you like it if a picture of your boobs was on the internet? And I'm like,
It
first
is.
of all, I'm real proud of this. Okay, this looks good. That'd be okay.
Yeah.
That'd be okay. That is the least of the terrible things that could possibly happen. Right? Like on the list, Charly, of terrible things that could happen to you, your boobs being on the internet, it's got to be low.
It's whatever. You know what? I know what the end of this year looks like. Let's just put them on the internet. Let's get it done. Everybody. Like, it's not that big of a deal. And the fact that some people still are finding it a big of a deal. Oh, there's so much more going on in this world.
There's so, and what is more beautiful than someone feeding their child? Like,
Exactly.
and if you get off on that, and many people do, and there are whole websites devoted to that, and you can go to those places and scratch that particular itch. But just because you get off on that, how dare you? This, of course, this is the larger conversation. How dare you impose that on everyone else? Right? Like, how dare you do that? And Cheryl Newton says, if my boobs were on the internet, I would be asked if I was sure they were actually boobs. That's so good.
Oh, Cheryl.
That's so good. But do you see what happens when women just talk really honestly to each other about this stuff? Like, we're bewildered by what the controversy is.
I would much rather have my boobs on the internet than a picture of the dishes in my sink.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest.
Yeah. No, you're so right, though.
The breastfeeding thing gets me because, like, the people who are offended by it, like, okay, let's get in a time machine and let's turn back the clock, and you're not allowed to breastfeed anymore, and then you wouldn't develop. Like, how do you think that you survived and grew into an adult? Isn't it like the first few weeks of the breast milk that's kind of like really, really rich in stuff as well?
The
There's
colostrum.
so much science and stuff behind this. Like, it's such a human thing to take something beautiful, scientific, and natural and then ruin it.
I think it's all part of this broader agenda to keep women in our place, to keep us this, because all of this discourse about, oh, is my shoulder too much for you, Dave? Like, all of this discourse is about keeping women sidelined and keeping us fearful. Like, maybe the issue isn't my bare shoulder or my 34 double Ds. Maybe the issue is you.
Right? We're all supposed to be so mindful, so demure.
And demure, yeah.
A little bit demure.
I don't think I've had, the last time I was demure, I was under anesthesia. So that's going to be kind of challenging for me. But yeah, like, and as women, we have got to support and uplift each other. Nothing destroys me more. Like, I have wept real salty tears over an attack coming from a woman, because I'm like, you're my sister. You're my girl. Like, we're on the same team. I would ride and die for you. Like, when we have to support and uplift each other, which is not to say that we don't have to, be kind and appreciative of men. I have one. He's upstairs. I'm very nice to him. He's fed, he's sheltered, he's current on his shots. Everything's good. I work with nothing but men. I'm in a world of men. But I'm here to uplift and support women, because men don't need that from me. No man needs me to tell him, you go, boy, look at you. They don't need that from me. So we have to be here for each other, even when that means, like, ooh, girl, that's not how I would do it. That's not how I would roll. But I see that that's how you're going to do it. And I want to uplift you as my sister.
Truth.
Definitely.
As somebody just said, like 100 years ago, showing Kayleen, showing an ankle was scandalous. So true.
Yeah. It's cultural, you guys. It's all cultural. When I was a teenager, the last thing in the world that you wanted was a big old juicy booty. Like you would rather die than have you a
Whole reason
big
why.
pillowy ass. And now you're supposed to have like a couple of cushions back there and a little bit of a flat chest. Like the beauty, do we not as women recognize that the finish line keeps moving? It keeps moving and moving and moving. And it's about keeping us distracted by our appearance and our weight and our flaws, right? Our perceived flaws. What the hell? It's all cultural. It all comes in and out of style. And what is like the hottest thing today will be gone tomorrow. In fact, there's a lot of talk in the fashion world right now about how the whole body positivity movement is over and it's back to super skinny, waif, heroin chic.
It's
We have
because
to
they only
reject
sell
that.
half shirts. They don't sell whole things anymore. My 18-year-old niece, that's all she can find is half shirts. And it doesn't help that she's 6'1".
Yeah.
Nabbit. I'm just hoping that the broken tooth thing comes in style.
Girl, it's so sexy. You know what it makes, you know what it looks
Not
like? No, let me tell you what it looks like. This bitch will cut you.
Oh, that's facts.
Yeah. This is a pirate. This is the Anne Bonny of animal control.
Arg. I love you.
I'm sorry. Like if we can't do it for each other, if we can't lift each other up and celebrate each other in all of the different ways that we're shaped and sized and constituted, who's going to do that for us? Nobody. So in that spirit, I'm not wearing a bra until maybe November 7th. That may be the next time I'm going braless till November.
Go after the 11th. My birthday's the 11th. That is my gift to you. Extended free booty.
We have our Catmas event, and I'm afraid of putting an eye out.
Yeah,
the reliability issues. All right, we're up. We ran overtime because we were having so much fun. So everybody except for me, go around the room. Closing thoughts. Heather.
I'm never wearing a wired bra again, so that's all I got for you.
Smart girl.
There you go.
Miss Sarah, what do you have for the peoples?
Yay, boobs, and wake up tomorrow and choose joy.
Yeah.
Charly?
Ride out the end of this year. It's up and down. And 2025, be topless as much as possible. And also, actually, thank you to kind of all the women and families and moms out there who are raising children who are mindful of, all of this craziness. Because 2025, we're all going to be topless, and
yes,
it is what it is.
Oh, Brian Foote is a happy man. Oh, they're all going to be topless in 2025. Oh.
He said his wife kicked him off a minute ago, so I think.
She's really big on through it, and it's good to know that there's something to look. So I'll close with this. Thanks y'all for hanging with us, even though we ran late. Be on the regular Bob and Sheri show on Friday, and you'll get our Zippy Zodiac. Charly will have a whole forecast for each individual Zodiac sign, like we do every single Friday. And Lamar, the People's Movie Critic, is reviewing The Woman Within, The Woman Inside, The Woman in Me. It's on Netflix. I can't remember the exact title. It's been a long day. And this Friday.
I was just thinking about this morning, Lamarcula.
Lamarcula. Isn't he good?
I'm dying. That was so funny.
If it's like Dracula, but with a Georgia accent. Oh my God. I was on the floor when he rolled that out. This week's True Weird Stuff episode is called The Dune Project, and it takes you deep underground in the Black Hills of South Dakota, where a very unusual and intriguing experiment is happening, and they're hoping to solve the mystery of life, the universe, and everything. Woo. We will do another ladies' night very, very soon, y'all. Maybe we'll kick off 2025 that way, since it's going to be such an awesome year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Topless.
And we would do it topless, but we ain't getting paid enough for that. I'm just going to be real.
I'm topless right now.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Ooh. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time.
Toodles.
Bye.